Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it is October wrap-up time. I cannot believe that the end of October is already here. This is my favorite month of the year, so I'm pretty sad to see it go, but I did a fair amount of reading this month, so I was excited about that. So let's get into what I read this month, and I will actually start out with a book that technically I finished at the end of September, but I finished it after I filmed my wrap-up video. So I just went ahead and included it in this one, and that is Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. And I did a full review on this, which I will link below. It is a really good contemporary book. It's about a girl, well, it's about a couple of women who have kids at the same in the same kindergarten class, and it's sort of about their friendships and their relationships and the sort of secret trauma and drama that goes on in their lives. And it's definitely a very thought-provoking book, but if you want to know more, you can check out the review. I will, again, leave that in the down bar. The next book I read is one that I was very much anticipating when it came out earlier in the summer, and I almost picked it up during the summer, but then I was like, no, I know that my used bookstore will get it, and then I can get it for a little less. And at the time I was reading a bunch of other stuff anyways, so I put it off, and then I found it, and that is Lauren Willig's book, That Summer. I am a pretty big fan of Lauren Willig's Pink Carnation books. I've read every one of them except the latest one that just came out, and I read The Ashford Affair, so when she came out with another standalone book, I was looking forward to reading that as well. And I really love this cover. I just think it's really pretty. She mentioned on her Facebook page that the paperback cover is a really pretty cover too, so I'm interested to see if it's prettier than this, because I really love this cover. But it follows a girl. I think it's set in 1990 and then 1840. It might be later than that. I don't know. I mean, earlier than that. But it's one of those where it has like a split. It's telling a story about one person in one time period and another person in another time period, which is how all of Lauren Willig's books are that I have read. So I'm pretty sure all of them follow that sort of structure. But this girl is living in New York, and she finds out that she has inherited a house in England, and so she goes over there to, clean out the house and sell it, and ends up finding all these interesting details about her family that she never knew. And it follows a woman who also comes to the house through a marriage, and her sort of journey and what she goes through in the house, and it's pretty interesting. The modern timeline is cute and fun to follow, but the real story is in the historical timeline. That one's a lot of fun, and there's a big mystery that you find out, and the ending is pretty shocking. I thought there were definitely some ends that could have been tied up a little better with this book, and there were some things that I was left sort of confused about after reading it. So it's definitely not my favorite Lauren Willig book, but I did like this a lot. The next one is called Holding My Breath by Sidura Ludwig, and I have had this on my shelf forever. It is clearly just sort of like a very battered copy of this book. I think that I got this for Christmas or something. My mom got it off the Amazon Marketplace, but I feel like I've had this book on my shelf for at least a year, if not more than that. And I had never read it, but I read the synopsis and thought it was really interesting, and it turned out to be, like, the whole book is basically stream of consciousness, and sometimes I don't like that in a book, but it worked in this one. And it's basically following this girl as she grows up and the things that happen to her and her family, and it's a good sort of life lesson book. It's about all the lessons that she learns in her life that make her who she is, and you find out things about her and it makes you think about your family and appreciate your life and your family. I think it was a good one. I liked it. I don't know if she has any other books. This apparently was her debut novel, so I'll have to check her out and see if she has any more, because this was really well written. The characters were developed pretty well. So yeah, it's a good read. Now the last two books I have seen endless reviews and things on this, and I feel like I found both of these through somebody's tag video or various people's tag videos, and I had added them to my list and sort of kept an eye out when I went to McKay's, and one of them, long story, the first one is the long story one, is Clockwork Angel by I can't say her name for some reason, is by Cassandra Clare. It's the first one in the not Mortal Instruments. Is it Mortal Instruments? Infernal Devices. Yeah, the Infernal Devices series. I did this last time that I talked about this book. This was fantastic, and I was not sure I was going to like it. After my whole Maze Runner debacle, I was hesitant to pick up more than one of these. So when I saw these at McKay's, I ended up picking up just this one, even though they had several copies of Clockwork Prince and Clockwork Princess. But I was like, they have several copies. They have a ton of the City of Bones and City of whatever, the Mortal Instruments ones. So I was like, they'll be there. I'm not worried. I'll just pick up the first one. So I finished this book and went back, and they had none of the other Infernal Devices books. Just this one. Just 4 copies of Clockwork Angel. They had like 3 copies of every single book in the Mortal Instruments series, but none of the other Infernal Devices books. So I'm a little disappointed with that because I really wanted to go on to the next one, but it is what it is. I am going to keep checking back, and if I don't find it before I finish the other series that I am currently reading, then I will either be ordering it on Amazon or Book Depository or Book Outlet or one of those places, or checking with a friend of mine who I know has read it to see if she still has it. But this is basically about a girl who finds out that she is part of this downworld culture, and it's sort of, she finds out that she is something she never knew she was, and so it's got demons and angels and werewolves. I mean, not werewolves. Are there werewolves in this? I'm sure there are. Vampires and all kinds of things, and it's just a really cool, fun book. So I definitely am looking forward to reading the rest of this series when I finally get my hands on them. So then, when I couldn't find those on the same trip, I ended up finding the first and the third in the Lunar Chronicles. So when I wasn't able to move on to the next one in the Infernal Devices series, I decided to go ahead and start the Lunar Chronicles. And this book, I just finished it today, and I loved it. I, again, was a little afraid I wasn't going to like it because of all the hype, but I definitely did. It's basically a retelling of the Cinderella story, except it's in this world, like futuristic world, and Cinder, who is Cinderella, is a cyborg mechanic, and throughout this she sort of finds out more about who she is and, you know, why she's a cyborg. And she gets in all this like palace intrigue and stuff like that, and it's very, very interesting. I liked the way the characters were written, and I really liked the way that it was sort of retold in a way that it was not predictable, and it isn't the Cinderella story. Like, you can obviously see the parallels, but not in a cheesy way, and it just felt really appropriate. And I love the world that is being built in this, and I cannot wait to read the next one. I'm actually going to pick it up tonight. And I was really excited because I didn't haul that I'll have a haul video coming up next week. And I have since bought more books because it's sickness buying books. But I found Scarlet at my local Books A Million on the under $5 bookshelf, and so I picked that up. All three of my books from this series are different, so I will end up buying the hardcovers probably for Cinder and Scarlet because I have the hardcover for Cress. But yeah, I'm very excited to read Scarlet, but I'm even more excited to get to Cress because everybody who reads these books says that Cress is the best one, and so I'm really excited about it. But yeah, that is everything that I read in October. I had a really good reading month. I mean, 5 books is a lot for me, and especially because I had sort of a busy month. So yeah, I would love to hear what books you read in October, and if you have any recommendations for me based on some of the things that I've read, please leave them in the down bar or in the comments, because I love to find new books, and any reason to go back to McKay's and go ferreting through the shelves to find other books that I can bring home. I'm all about that. So I will see you guys later. Bye.